Alrighty, we are live. I just want to start off by welcoming everyone. This is Miss Yolanda Neal. She is also my soror. I just had to put that out there. Um,
Okay.
so if you don't mind just giving us a brief introduction about just who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As Miss Day just told you, I am Yolanda Neal. Let's see. I work for Pathways Behavioral Health Services. I've worked for Pathways for almost 20 years. It will be 20 years in July. I know I don't look like I've worked somewhere that long, but I have. So I've worked for Pathways for 20 years. Prior to that, I worked for youth villages for about 5, and I worked for a residential facility in Knoxville a little bit over 5 years. So I've been in the mental health in the helping profession for approximately 30 years. I'm originally from Bolivar, Tennessee, which is south of Jackson. Graduated high school, went off to college. Like I started out pre med, um, and really didn't like the pre med classes, and really struggled in some of the classes. And I realized that I liked a lot of the behavioral health classes more. Ended up switching my major, and it was something that I loved. So I've been in behavioral health for almost 30 years. So it's been a very rewarding field. So at Pathways, I started out in mobile crisis. In crisis, I loved that was my first love. When I truly saw mental health at its finest, because it was like feast or famine with crisis. So it was like either we would be busy and I could see everything under the spectrum and under the sun when it came to diagnoses, or it could just be boring and we could just be sitting and doing whatever we chose to do. I did that for about 8 years. Then I was asked to move into management. Had never really thought about managing anything, but evidently they saw something in me and they approached me, asked me about managing one of the residential programs, and I accepted. And so I've been in management since. Different programs. I manage actually 3 grants right now. So, yeah, so that's me and what I do.
Okay. My first question to you would be: did you find your career, or did your career find you?
Mm.
Hmm. Well, I guess the career found me because, as I was saying initially, I thought I had always said I was going to be a doctor. That is what I thought I was going to be doing. But then when I got into my core curriculum, into my studies, I did not enjoy the biologies and all of that. And I really felt I enjoyed the abnormal psychology and all of those type of classes even more, and I enjoyed finding out about people, and I'm a people watcher. So I enjoyed all of that. So I would say I fell into it because it initially was not what I thought I would be doing. But once I got to college and the coursework or whatever, it was, I enjoyed it much more.
Okay. Why is there a stigma around mental health?
You know, so the push is has been at one point they were talking about mental health awareness. So just recently in the last year, in a lot of the media and everything has been more for mental health acceptance, not awareness, because we've been doing awareness for 10 years. Everyone is aware that mental health is out there. So we are to the point where in the communities, we need to accept that people have mental health diagnoses. And it could be the person working next to you. However, you would never know unless that person told you. So we just because you don't know the path or know someone's journey, people think that mental health looks a certain way, and it doesn't. Mental health could be you, me, it could be my husband, it could be my child, and especially in the Black community. It's just always been, we pray about it and we take it to God. And don't get me wrong, I am spiritual. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, our Savior. I believe all of that. However, I know that God put these professions on earth for us to be able to lead, and for us to be able to reach out and get the help that we need. But in our community, oftentimes, we're shamed, and we feel like, no one else. You don't want people to know your business, but these people probably know you're struggling. And some of these people you've called on, but for some reason we feel that we don't want people in our business, so that stigma is there. But it's definitely something that we hope in the mental health profession. We hope that we are moving more towards acceptance of everyone, because for me, I feel like mental health, working in a mental health center, for my people who work with me, I'm pretty open. If when they need a day or whatever, if they need some time off, they should be able to take their time off, because you know better than yourself when you need a mental health day. So if you need a mental health day, you need to take it. And it starts with us being aware and being able to take care of ourselves, and not taking on so much, um and trying to be everything, be every woman, and be everything for everyone, when we ourselves are suffering oftentimes. So I will say that the stigma is there just because, we are used to being proud people and not needing help. But, we need to recognize that everyone needs help sometimes. So hopefully we are moving more towards people being more accepting of mental health diagnoses. And because simple depression, it is just that. But the thing is, I tell people, if you're depressed and if you're feeling sad, you're feeling down, you need to talk to somebody and not hold it in, and not keep it to yourself, because the person next to you could have had a struggle similar to yours, and they can maybe give you something to help you with making it through. So we all need it sometimes, including me.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, hopefully we can move more towards acceptance and not just awareness.
Right. What do you consider the most important traits for someone in your field to have?
Mm. You have to be a good listener,
Hmm.
and you have to have compassion. You have to be able to see and visualize what a person is going through, because oftentimes, I may not have had the exact situation, but I can only imagine if that happened to me, how I would feel. So I think being compassionate and being willing to be transparent with people, because if someone comes to you, for me, if someone comes to me and they have an issue that's beyond my scope of practice, I have to be able to say, you know, I can't help you with that. And I need to refer you, or let me see if I can help get some resources for you, or refer you to someone else. And, because especially because we're supposed to do no harm. And when we're treating our patients or our clients, we're supposed to do no harm. So if it's beyond my scope of practice, and if I don't feel like I can help you with the issue, I need to be able to say, I need to see if I can find someone else for you.
Okay. Could you tell me about a time where you did have to help someone, and if so, how did you feel afterwards?
Well, one of my programs is the homeless program.
Hmm.
So we help people every day. So it's always something going on where we're trying to help either people stay housed, get housed, or get utilities back on. So that's one of the grants that I manage. So we are always helping people. So it feels good to be able to know that we can help someone to stay housed, especially when they're housed and they have is a as a parent and multiple children, and to be able to keep them from being on the streets or keep them from going to a shelter. So it feels good to be able to help people, and to have that giving heart, and you want to do better, and you want the families to do better and to be able to help. So it feels good.
And my last question from me to you would be, if you had any advice to tell someone who was struggling with mental health or just overall anything, what would you tell them?
See someone, see a counselor. um I'm sorry, I did not turn my devices off, and I do apologize. um but I would tell them to see someone, to see a counselor. It is no shame in seeing a counselor. Because it's funny to talk about that, because I was just talking to a parent tonight who recently had their child assessed. They were thinking something was going on, and they saw one of the psychologists, and so the parents are divorced, and so the child is having some issues. So I would tell them, definitely see someone. It's no harm in seeing someone, and it's confidential. No one is going to know about it. People only know about it if you tell them. So, and and the thing is, you may just see somebody else, when you're sitting in the lobby. So, it's no harm in getting help. Get help if you need it. There are different platforms now. So, if you don't feel comfortable coming in, there is what's called telehealth. So you can actually do a Zoom call with a therapist. Your therapist can be at home or in the office, or in an actual office, and you could be at home. So in the therapist, some of them are in Tennessee, some of them aren't. So it's you have that platform. So you actually have so many other ways that you can actually see someone now. If you don't have access to Zoom, you can do phone counseling. And then there are even some therapists that have weekend and after hour times. So you just have to find the right fit for you, but never suffer in silence. That's my biggest thing. You don't have to. Their help is out there. You don't have to suffer in silence. You can get there's help out there if you reach out for the help. But sometimes, just know though, if there's not a good fit for the therapist that you see, it's nothing wrong with saying, this is not a good fit. I think I need to find someone else. Or can you refer me to someone else? So you can tell if you have a good rapport with that counselor, and if you trust that counselor, and if you guys develop that relationship. But I do not just stop counseling because that counselor didn't understand me or what have you. Try someone different, because just like all of us, we all have different personalities. And while the counselor is the professional, sometimes you might not feel that they understand, and that's fine. But still, reach out and continue with trying to get the help that you need. Don't just not get counseling, but get counseling.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm just going to open it up now for any additional questions that you all may have.
Pointing at the man. No,
Let
I
me
have a
throw in one
question.
question real quick.
Okay, go ahead, Courtney.
Um, I know you said that mental health is really important, especially in the Black community.
Mhm.
Um, I would have to ask, like, have you ever thought about starting like a podcast about mental health to help other people out there that's struggling with it?
I have not. You know, I actually know a couple of people that do podcasts, or used to. I haven't. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was doing podcasts back when podcasts first started. But it's not something I've ever thought of doing, because honestly, I don't have time. I am busy. So I think of, when would I do something like that? So, but
I
no,
can
but it's
tell
not
you
something.
when, in the middle of the night, when you get up in the morning, when you find a thought, something you need to say, because the way social media works is
Yeah,
you be
yeah,
yourself at the
Right.
time that you're talking. I've seen people on what was her name? Red. She's from Memphis, but she moved. She was a singer, but she was a nurse too. And you catch Red up 2 o'clock in the morning. I look at my phone. Red is on live with her head scarf on, laying sitting up in the bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just got a new recorder too, but it's in my bag. And it's
Okay.
not new. I just the second one I bought because I wore the first one out, and I kept
Okay.
it with me. I keep it with me all the time. There's an SD card in it. Pull it out, put it in my phone, and pull it in my computer and upload the audio to the file, and you set up your platform. I've been
Okay.
podcasting since it came out too, 20 some years.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So Quentin, I've never thought about being a podcast. Are you saying you think I would do pretty good having a podcast?
Hmm.
Because like it's plenty of people that I know that does podcasts. Like especially one podcast I listened to. Well, I just started listening to it like a few weeks ago. The artist T-Pain. He always
Uh-huh.
asks his guests on his podcast, how's their mental health and all that. So like stuff like that is like really appreciates that he cares for his guests and checks on their mental health to see how they're doing on a daily.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome. And I like T-Pain. Yeah.
So, what do you do when you have a bad day? When you just do you ever get overwhelmed? Sometimes,
Yeah, I do.
imagine.
So when I have a bad day, so I am one of those people. I like to take it. I like to sleep, and that's is it the best coping skill? Um, it all depends, But when I'm really tired and drained, if I can get me a good nap, usually I wake up and I feel refreshed and I can go on and start over again. So that's one of my coping skills. But um and I used to shop a lot. That used to be my coping skill. But look, I'm glad I'm upstairs because if my husband was in the background, he would say that it's still my coping skill. But I reeled that in because we are on a different journey and a different path to becoming debt free. So that I actually shifted. So naps have always been my go-to, even when I'm sick, I'm not feeling well or whatever. If I can lay down, usually I feel a little bit better once I get up. So that's one of my go-to coping skills. But of course, um, music is one. But most of the time I decompress in silence. I need complete silence. So some people, they'll get in the car and they turn their radio on and they blast it or whatever. To me, I don't ride with anything on. When I get in my car and it's just me, it's complete silence because I talk all day. I listen to other people all day. So that silence does me well. So typically when I'm in my car, I don't have anything on. So that's one of the things that I do. But of course, there's a whole list of coping skills out there that you can use. You can take hot baths, take a hot shower, go for walks. All of those things, especially the walking and anything physical, is really good because one, it tires you down. Also, it helps you be able to get a better night's sleep. So,
Mhm. Yep.
and always remember your sleep is important. So,
Anybody else?
Uh,
Gerard,
why why don't you think mental health is taken as seriously in the black community?
that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't think it's not that it's not taken seriously. I think that people we call on our faith a lot. We were taught to have faith and to trust in God. But the thing is, faith without work is what?
Dead. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So we need to do some work. And
Mhm.
so and in the black community, in the black church, even we're taught to pray, but we need to pray and we need to get up off our knees and we need to do the work, because you're
Mhm.
not going to get better if you keep doing the same thing over and over, because that's the definition of what? Insanity. Okay. So we're not going to keep doing the same thing, praying, Lord, help me do this, but you're not doing any work. So of
Mhm.
course nothing is going to change if you're not doing anything different. So in the Black community, it's just something that's been ingrained in us to pray and to have faith. But but on the other flip side of that, it's us educating ourselves and realizing that it's great and it's awesome to have faith, because we teach it and we preach faith, but you need to do the work. So in the Black community, that's one of the things. We're conditioned to just pray and not do the work. And not it's not everyone, but we have to recognize that work is required to get a different result.
Mhm. All right. Any more questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Yolanda, for coming on
Thank
and
you.
discussing mental health with us.
Yes, thank you so much, and hopefully it was what you needed.
It was. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Back.
All right. Bye bye.